Yeah, we can just jump on into it.
I love that link, by the way. The torn ACL jumping in, or just jumping into it.
Jumping right into the video. Oh,
Yeah.
Mike. All right, so we'll just cruise in then.
Let's go for it.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Fake Philosophers. I'm Mike. With me is Mitch.
Hi, guys.
Yeah, doing a little remote today. Doing a little remote sesh.
Yeah.
So
for no real reason other than we're just kind of lazy.
Yeah. Everyone keeps
And
saying,
honestly,
let's do it at my house. And I'm like, no, I don't want to drive.
Yeah, that and just to see if we can. We're expanding. See, quite frankly, we're recording remotely, but really we're about a 15-minute drive away from each other. So
Yeah.
I'm in my apartment, and we're like, well, we'd like to see if we can. So if one of us is sick or getting home late or whatever, and we just want to do remote
Gas money.
gas money. Hey, that's topical.
Right.
I kind of feel how Eddie feels most of the time. Eddie couldn't be with us today. He didn't tell me why.
He told me why. He's attending an underwater basket weaving class.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that tracks.
Yeah, he asked me not to say anything, but here we are.
The good news is I didn't forget my hat because I have it here. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wear mine because I have bad hair.
Oh, I have too much hair. That's why I don't wear mine.
Yeah. Thanks again.
Yeah.
Look young, great hair. Must be nice.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Anyway,
But,
let's jump into something. We were talking about a couple things. What do you got? What do you got for us? We need to talk about.
I saw a post, a young lady that, it doesn't matter, gender, forget I said that. Scratch that from the record. Someone I follow posted one of those generic inspirational quotes, and all it said was, quote, "Your worth is non-negotiable." And it was one of those like... First of all, yeah. I mean, I thought that was kind of a fun little thing. It's one of those just like empty, stupid inspiration things that I think people just see and they feel good, so they post it.
Yeah.
My first reaction, we'll get into your reaction first. That's kind of funny. My first reaction was, yeah, it goes both ways though. I mean, you don't. I'm sure the intent was to say, don't let anyone tell you your worth, because if you know your worth, whatever. My thing was, yeah, but don't try to pretend you're something you're not. I mean,
Well, yeah, and then my mind went straight to like salary negotiations, where it's like literally your worth is negotiable.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You
literally, that's literally
do
what
have
getting
a
paid
value.
is. Yeah.
You do have value, unfortunately. Unfortunately, we do slap a monetary unit on your labor, and it's
Yeah. Literally,
It is negotiable, though.
It's negotiable. Yeah.
It
Both
is
ways.
negotiable.
Yeah, both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I took it as more of that spiritualist kind of, don't let people drag you down. And I'm like, well, don't pretend something you're not. I mean,
It's kind of like when someone's depressed and someone's just like, hey, have you ever tried like just not being depressed? Like that's the same. It's like, don't let anyone tell you what you're worth. Like it's stupid. It's generic. There was a guy. I might try to find him on Instagram. I haven't seen any posts from him for a while, but he used to post just like random shit like that, like every other day. It would be like, don't let people stop you from getting your dreams. And it's like, okay, like the fuck. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Try your best at everything. Leave it all on the court.
And that was an earlier thing I read earlier was someone had said, I'm going to try to do my best. And I'm like, well, isn't that redundant? That's more of just a hacky stand-up, routine.
I don't know if it's redundant, because, I mean, there's times where, like, I'm trying, but I'm not trying to do my best. I'm just trying to get by. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay. Yeah, maybe.
Like when I was in PE in high school, like I'm not trying my best. I'm trying to get the maximum or the minimum amount of time on my mile.
Okay.
Once I hit that, I'm not trying harder. I'm going for C's.
That is
Unless
true.
the C's is your best.
I'd be lying if I said no. I always try. When I try, that's my best. And
No.
No, I try to pass. That's a better way. I try to pass. Are you going to try to do your best, or are you going to try to pass?
Mm-hmm. Are we going to try to get all the technical issues in this podcast down? We're going to try. Probably not my best.
If it were my best, what would I do? I'd probably, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably buy a camera, not use my phone. Yeah, there's a hack for you guys. Everyone want to buy a camera, you're really going to have to spring for a really nice camera, because honestly, all the cameras that come on your phone are probably better than most cameras you can buy. But
it's true.
Unfortunately, you're looking on my phone right now, and the front-facing camera, nonetheless.
The front-facing camera.
It's pretty good.
It's not bad.
If I wanted to flip this bitch around, actually, I would if I could. I was trying to figure that out, like plugging the USB into my computer and use the phone as a camera. And if you know how to do that, leave a comment. And,
please leave a
comment.
Tell
me how to do that. Yeah, because I tried for about 10 minutes, gave it the old tried to pass try, and failed. So
you probably, if you had 10 more minutes, could have figured it out, but you're just like, nope, I'm good.
Nope. Yeah.
I put as much effort into this as I wish to.
And that's 20 minutes of Minecraft I could have played gone, and I'm not going to get that time back. So whatever. That's the latest. I'm back into Minecraft now. I'm in a bad Minecraft way right now.
I played Minecraft with my nephew once.
Yeah.
And
that's what
I've
heard from most people that don't play Minecraft. They always say, "Yeah, I played it with kids."
Well, I didn't mean that in a that kind of way. I meant I played it once. I feel like it's one of those things. You're an Office watcher, obviously. Do you remember when the Scranton Strangler was driving down the street and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" And Jim had a quote something along the lines of, "This is one of those things that if you weren't there, you wouldn't care about it."
Yeah.
I kind of apply that to Minecraft, because to the people who play it, they're all about it. They're like, "Yes, this game's amazing." I played it once and I'm like, I don't see it. But if I was in it, if I was into it, I'm in it.
Yeah, I don't defend it. It's simple. It's simple at its. It's just very simple, and it's mindless, and it's one of those the phrase "the nothing box." I'm going to go into my nothing box and just veg. I put on a TV show that I've seen before, and I do Minecraft. Nothing new in Minecraft, is building stuff that I've already built, and it's just nothing, and it's amazing.
I know what you mean. Kind of just the mind killers, just the mind killers. Jesus. Just the where you can just put it on cruise control and chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
It's been talked about beaten into the ground, especially in when my church does relationship talks or whatever. One analogy they always talk about is one of the differences between men and women is men are really good at compartmentalizing everything, putting everything into boxes. When they work, they're in their work box. When they're home, etc. But one thing that they have, and women can keep up with them for the most part on all those, I kind of get it. But there's one thing that men have and are really good at, and it's their nothing box. It's just why they can sit and watch sports for just hours and be fine with it, or play video games, or watch reruns or whatever. So that's what I was mean when I said the nothing box is sitting and playing Minecraft, and it's great.
I forgot which dumb game she has on her phone. She has a couple. I have a couple too, but she'll when she gets home, she'll work out or whatever, and then she'll just hit the couch and get lost in this fucking dumb game. And I actually was behind her one time, watching her, and it was such a stupid game, and so I kind of trashed it. And she even was like, "No, this game is retarded," but I go to my place where I don't have to think about anything. I'm just playing this stupid fucking game, and I was like, respect.
What game was it?
It's one of these. You've seen the ads on your phone, I'm sure, with Facebook or Instagram, where it's like a story, and then you pick. And the graphics are really cartoonish, but you pick your direction.
Yeah. Does he flirt with the secretary or the boss and
something? It's kind of like that, but it's more fantasy themed.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, that's hot.
Me, I've played those dumbass ones where it's it almost looks like stick figures, and you do different things, like tower defense, or even the guys running and you have to move them. I've played a couple of those.
Those are fun.
And they're dumb. I think the other day I actually was playing one, and I got so sick of the fucking ads, I spent $3 just to stop them.
Oh yeah,
and I'm not proud of that. It was just that's how mind numbing it was. Where I have to stop and 30-second ad, Okay, play 2 rounds, 30-second ad. I was like, fuck it. How much does it cost? It was like $3. I was like, fine. I won't buy a soda tomorrow.
No shame. I've done that several times. It's funny. We can drop like 15, $20 on a meal and it'll be fine. But those $2 to not ever have ads on a game you like.
I mean, they still squeeze it in there too. Like this game, it's like, yeah, you do a round. Okay, cool. So they're not showing ads every couple rounds. But like, if you want that upgrade, you have to watch an ad. If you want this bonus, you have to watch an ad. So you're only spending $3 on some of the ads.
Yeah. Well, mobile games, man. It's the future. Well, it's not even the future. It's the now. It's. I
was like, yeah, that's actually happening literally right now.
I mean, back to the book. There's a.
Sure.
That one I'll save for an episode. It's actually kind of philosophical discussion. That'll be kind of good. After we figure out if we realize that this works out, cool, then we'll get into that. But
yeah, we'll just have to have Danny get a good mic and a good connection, and we can just do this all the time.
That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty rad.
Because last time when Danny came in remotely, his connection was shite.
Yeah. Anyway,
let's just shit on Danny right now.
It's fucking Danny. He's not doing anything cool. He's just at home. No. He's not doing underwater basket weaving. Like
he's just at home spending time with his fiance like a fucking loser.
What a moron. Some of these I read last week, like as we were finishing, but I'll go back over. I wrote wholesome highlight. Was that like to counter the episode not brought to you by?
That may have been something I suggested.
Okay.
Because I remember I had an idea and I set a reminder to tell myself like, oh, what about something nice and fun and wholesome, like a wholesome moment in your life you'd like to share?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah, I don't have one right now.
I'm in a cynical mood. No. I think that was my idea. Because I remembered a cool cop that treated me very nicely when I was in high school.
Oh, I think you told that story. The cop who like let you go. He had you against the wall, and he's like, "All right, get out of here."
No, there was that. No, it was a different one. A much more eventful one, which I tell the story and people don't believe me.
Yeah,
which
I won't believe you.
I would not believe it if it was told to me. Fuck it. I'll tell it.
All right, fuck it.
So a buddy of mine, there's 4 of us in the car, and we all went to. I remember we talked about you didn't really go to a lot of high school parties. But so we would normally go to someone's house, and then one person would drive. So we all went to my buddy's house. It's a generic enough name, Chris. We all went to his house, and he drove us to the party. And Chris had gotten in trouble with his folks. Like, so he was in a position where like his parents bought him his car, like a lot of us in high school. And so they were strict on him. They're like, you be home by this time, or we're taking your goddamn key. Like,
gotcha.
So we were at a party. I think let's just say midnight. It was like 11 or midnight that he had to be home, and we already agreed like fine, we're all gonna leave and be back there at midnight. And we were running late, and so he was speeding, and he wasn't going like on the main roads because he was trying to avoid cops. He was going like side roads, like in neighborhoods and shit, to try to avoid them. And sure enough, cop pulls him over. It was a female, and so she pulled him over, and she kind of was cool. She's like, "Hey, you're going way too fast for this residential area. Like, what's going on?" And he was freaking the fuck out. He was like, "I need to get home, or else I'm losing my car. Like, I have to get home." And she's like, "Have you been drinking?" He's like, "No, I'm actually DDing. Like, I'm not drunk. I'm just trying to get home as fast as possible." And so she's like, "All right, give me a second." And so I believe she gave him a speeding ticket, and then she was like, "Follow me." She asked him like, where do you live? And he directed like, I'm down this way, blah 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 blah. And she's like, okay, cool, just follow me and turn off when you need to turn off. And he's like, huh? She's like, just follow me and turn off when you need to. And she walked away. Wow. And we're like, what the fuck is she talking about? She passes by, does like one of these like signaling, come on, hits the lights.
No.
And goes.
Wow.
And so we were all like, what the fuck? And so he went, like, because we were all like, oh my God. And so he went, and it was maybe a mile. It wasn't that far. And so sure enough, like he put his blinker on and started slowing down. She turned her lights off and just kept going. And like she wasn't going crazy fast or anything. She just had her lights on. Like, okay, I gave this kid a speeding ticket, but at least like he's trying to do the right thing. And so she just kind of helped him out. It was nice. It was kind of like, oh.
A little refreshing.
Yeah.
Defund the police.
Except for her.
That was a good story.
Don't
that was a
defund
good
her.
story.
Yeah, it was really fun.
When using this is back to the notebook. Sorry. When using a flashlight, you've used a flashlight
Once or twice.
Do you move the light, and then your eyes follow the light, or do you look and then your hands make the light follow to where you're looking? So which is first?
Did you think of this one yourself, or?
Yeah. I was on a job. And I was using a flashlight, and came up with that.
I think I do both, depending.
It could be that thing where it's both. Yeah. I kind of,
I think like let's say hypothetically I had a flashlight in my hand and the lights went out in here. So I couldn't see anything. I'm granted there's a window and it's daytime, but let's say it's nighttime, lights go out, I can't see anything. I'm gonna look around to what I want to look at because it's dark, and then turn the light on. But if I'm like going through the house, or that's a bad example. In that case, I actually probably would let the light direct my eye. But then, like, if I was in a room that was like partially lit and there's dark areas, I'm obviously gonna look at the dark area first, then turn the light on. But if everything is dark, the light will probably leave my eye.
Yeah. Okay.
Situations.
I think it's more. I think if I thought about it, I think my hand moves first, and then my eye follows. But I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was fun.
That was a lengthy discussion.
I saw a freeway sign that said Jesus is the only way to God, and I disagree because you could die and then you meet God. And
I mean, you're not wrong.
It was one of those stupid things that it was like one of the like we call it Christianese, the pocketed inventory of phrases and words that just the cliche Christian things to say. We call it Christianese. Father God, this and that and whatever. What would Jesus do is like the biggest staple of Christianese, that if you ask people like my sister who's a pastor, she like rolls her eyes, and like everyone's got to be a bit of curmudgeon about that kind of stuff because it was the 90s. But she'll correct you and be like, okay, a more accurate way to say it would be what would Jesus do if he were here today? Kind of. It's like
it's the same thing, but it sounds a little better. Doesn't sound as cheesy.
More right. So when I saw the sign that said Jesus is the only way to God, I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying. I still think it's stupid because it's worded weird, but okay. But
yeah,
I think I mean it's referencing the verse, no one comes to the Father except through me, and I'm like, yeah, but the context of that is like to enter the God's kingdom, you have to go through Jesus and whatnot, but it was super simplistic and I didn't like it. It made me mad for no reason. But
that happens. I remember in college, I looked up and I saw a sign for a lawyer who represents people who get into car accidents. Big billboard. And I couldn't help but think, wouldn't that possibly be a cause for you to get into a car accident if you have to look at the billboard? And I thought, does that advertisement work in two different ways there? Yeah. That's
pretty genius marketing. This episode brought to you by whoever that was. That was a good idea.
Right. Remember I saw one for a divorce lawyer too. And it was in Vegas in college, and I remember seeing a sign for a billboard for a divorce lawyer. And
oh dear.
Just in my head, I've never been married or divorced yet, but I couldn't help but think, like, if when me and my lovely fiance get married, and some time down the line,
I've met her. Yeah,
if we're having problems, and I'm just like fucking up to here with it, and then that's the catalyst, as I'm driving, and I see the billboard for a divorce lawyer, and then I couldn't help but think, who would call the divorce lawyer from a billboard instead of like going through the proper channel? You know what I'm saying? There's certain advertisements that like you trust the billboard for.
Yeah. I mean, but there's a flip side of that coin. Is like, how often have you seen a billboard for marriage counseling?
Doesn't pay as much, so you can't afford it.
Yeah, well, but I feel like you'd get more repeat customers.
That's true.
But like, I mean, I've seen those. There's this great billboard in Riverside that says cheaper than a divorce, and it's advertisement for an adult toy store. And
I've seen that one.
The best advertising I've seen in immediately anymore. It's amazing. But yeah, if you saw a billboard that said, having problems, here's marriage counseling, whatever. Same kind of thing though. It's like if my marriage was in a rut and I needed counseling, I don't know if I'd run to the billboard counselor.
Well, and that's what I'm thinking about right now. Like, there's probably some like lawyers, like, so you see tons of these fucking lawyer ads on billboards. There's probably some of them that get hits from people who see it. Like, what's his name? Sweet James Bergener. Yeah, like, so if I needed a lawyer that does what he does, I might be like, oh wait, I saw a billboard that said this. But still, in the back of my head, lawyers aside, I cannot think of a single time I've looked at a billboard and then purchased the product. Not one time.
Carl's Jr., their billboards are pretty good. I've seen a billboard for, I can think of one time in particular, I saw a billboard for Carl's Jr. and it's just a great picture of a burger. And I was like, what's awesome is they don't look that much different than the real thing. And that kind of sounds good. And I went and got some Carl's Jr.
So you went to Carl's Jr. because you saw the billboard?
I mean, I'd been to Carl's Jr. before.
But that particular time?
But that, I don't even know if it was the same day. It was kind of like because I saw the billboard, it was like, oh, now I'm craving it. And then like within the next couple days I went. And
so
yeah.
I have to retract what I said. I do remember a single time now where I did go somewhere because of the billboard.
You're so full of shit, Mike. Every time.
I new information was remembered, and I'm retracting my statement. And I'm not proud of it. I'll talk about it now. I was young. I'm not proud of it. It was to a strip club. I was driving home from Vegas, and there was this bill.
So it wasn't even a strip club in Vegas.
No.
It was on the ride home.
No. And so
okay,
it was like in the like a Friday afternoon, I think. So it wasn't even like the good shift. It wasn't a great shift, but I was driving back home to California, and like I didn't have shit to do that day, and so at this point I had made this drive both ways at least 100 times. So I always see this billboard for this fucking strip club. And just in my head, I was like, I got cash on me. I'm curious. And so when I saw it, I was like, I'm very curious about this. And so I pulled off the freeway. I went to the strip club.
Wow.
Didn't have a good time. It was not a good strip club.
See, I feel like that's more like they wore you down and you finally are like, all right, fuck, I'm tapping, I'm going.
There are many times where I've just done random shit strictly out of curiosity. I wasn't even there like trying to get off or anything. I was literally just like, I'm curious about this strip club in the middle of fucking Hesperia.
I mean, I feel like, yeah, I think most people do a bunch of random shit because they were curious.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, this kind of shit. Not that everything I've done out of curiosity is like perverse.
No, the afternoon crowd at a strip club in Hesperia just drips with quality.
It was honestly a bad decision. Because at least I might have told the story. I accidentally went into a strip club when I lived in Vegas. And that's a funny story because like I literally just went in there to grab a drink, thinking it was a bar.
Did you live in Vegas? Or?
Yeah, I lived in Vegas. Have I mentioned that once, twice?
I'm sorry, fucking with you. Go ahead.
No, but that was a funny time. But this time with Hesperia or Apple Valley, wherever this fucking strip club was, it was brutal, man. Because I walked in and like, because it's California, so I think I forgot the laws, but either way, this was not an alcoholic strip club because I think it was full nude, so they can't do alcohol. Whoa. So I was like, so I can't even get a beer. So I walked in and I was like, hey, like, do you have anything to drink? And I think all they had was like Monster energy drink. At least that's what I saw like in their cooler. I was like, all right. So I just kind of sat down, and no one else was in there but me, which is automatically uncomfortable. And like the girl, one girl was dancing on the stage, and she looked like okay, but not about to. I'm gonna sound like an asshole. I wasn't about to spend money for that. Sure, someone's gonna be like, "What a misogynistic prick!" Like, nah, I'm not gonna buy the. I'm not gonna buy
you know what? No. The worth is non-negotiable, man.
There was some negotiating there, and so
we're gonna get canceled for sure.
Yeah. So what was kind of irritating was one girl came up to me while I was sitting there because like there was like 5 of them and I was the only person there. And one of them came up to me and said, "Hey, what's up?" Like doing the whole thing. And I know the whole stick, so I was kind of like, "Hey, I'm just trying to chilling for now. I'm good." And like the girl that was on the stage gets off, and then like a few minutes later, she comes over and tries to talk to me, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just trying to chilling right now. I'm good." And a girl gets on the stage who's actually like kind of like attractive, and I was like, "Huh, okay." And so in my head, I was like, "I'm gonna wait for her to come over here." And she gets off the stage and goes to the back and never comes out. And I was like, "Okay, well, cool."
You poor soul.
And then I just left. I was like, this was, and it wasn't like just right off the freeway. It was like 5 to 6 miles off the freeway in like Apple Valley or Hesperia. I forgot where it was.
Woof.
And so the one time a billboard actually directed me to do something, it was a mistake. So I don't trust billboards anymore because of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm glad my lady doesn't watch the podcast.
Yeah, I've never been to one, and I've honestly never even been curious. It just seems like
I could count the amount of I can count the amount of times I've been to a strip club. It's not like I was a frequent flyer.
It's one of those things I think like you have to hang out with the right crowd to be into it. I don't think anyone on their own would be into it, but if you somehow got in with a group of friends in high school that was super into it, then like, kind of not that you were peer pressured. It's just that cultural kind of like
you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah, and then you kind of make a habit of it. I could see that being a thing, but
I mean,
all my friends were poor, so
well, there you go. I think the first time I went was like for a friend's birthday. And he wanted to go there, so we went.
I'm still picturing high school. It's like a high school birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. No, but
with
it's
balloons, dude. That would be actually really funny. That would be. I kind of want to do that for someone. Like call the strip club and be like, "Look, we want to set up like an area with balloons and a cake, and make it a funny thing."
Unless someone's like, if I had a friend that might be like getting married soon or anything, that'd be a fun
That would be funny, yeah.
No.
No. So the first time I went was for like a birthday. I think I was like 21 or 22, and it was okay. It was whatever. It's kind of weird. I went again in college when my roommate broke up with his girlfriend. His buddies wanted to like take him to the strip club. And so you're like, "You want to come?" And I was like, "Well, I support my boy, so yeah, I'll come." And that was a night. That was a night.
So healthy.
And then the time where I was curious from the billboard that time, and then the time I walked in on accident to a strip club. And then I think I went back to the one I walked into on accident because I wanted to bring a friend and be like, "Dude, you need to check this fucking shitty ass place out." Because it was like not a good strip club, but it kind of made it charming. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Like if you're just going in there to have a beer, you're like, "Oh, look at this shit." Like it was kind of interesting. So I took a buddy of mine there just to show him. Like, check this place out. So that was the times I've been to a strip club. Were those times.
How do we get on strip clubs? Oh, because Jesus is the only way to God. Yeah.
Exactly.
So,
go to a strip club is another way to get to God.
Oh, dear.
God was in that room with me.
I'm going to put this one out there. We could save it for the answer, unless you have one lined up. But if you were greenlit a series, what would it be? And if you were greenlit a movie, what would it be? Like if someone, like I'm talking like straight up walked up to you, or you met a guy in an elevator and was like, "Look, I've got this extra, $10 million laying around, and I need to make a pilot and a first season for a series. What would it be?" Originally, the idea I had was if you were greenlit a sitcom, because that was where my mind went. But I'm like, oh well, it could be a dramatic series. It could be a game show. It could be a documentary. It could be a live, real TV. What do they call it? Not live TV. What? Reality TV. Yeah. A reality TV show following the life of bartenders, because I don't think that's been done yet.
I don't think it has either, actually.
It's been like, the
Bar Rescue doesn't
Kitchen
count.
Nightmares and
that doesn't count. I would, as far as the shows, I would if it was like a sitcom or a comedy based show. Yeah. I actually had I started writing a pilot once just for the fuck of it. of like almost like a mockumentary style, kind of like The Office.
Yeah.
But it takes place at a bar and base a lot of it off of my experiences at our bar. Like just
Nice.
do that. But if it was like a dramatic series, I would do. You remember when you came out and we did a little thing in the desert? We shot a little thing in the desert.
Filming. Yes. Okay, I thought you were talking about that other thing.
Oh,
where we went out into the desert
and shot some stuff up.
If no one knew the context, it'd be like, remember that time you came over and we did that little thing in the desert?
Context. Mitch.
Oh yes.
Mitch was an actor for me, on a thing that me.
He was
and,
an actor too. Mike
I also was acting in it. I was also a producer.
I think he starred in it. I think he starred.
I was a lead. Yes. When you produce and write, you get to cast yourself. As
no, that was
Tommy
fun.
Wiseau.
That was a good day.
Yeah. So
that was a good day running around the desert. Yeah.
Yeah. So that thing that we shot was actually supposed to be part of a bigger sci-fi universe that my buddy Mike Ortiz created. And so if someone came up to me with like unlimited funds and said, "What do you want to do, like series-wise?" It would be a dramatic series based in that universe, because I already, for fun, wrote a pilot for it. And between Ortiz and I, we could definitely hammer out 5 seasons like within a couple weeks. So that would be that. Movie-wise,
I sent you a scene I wrote with the character I played. Yeah, that was fun.
Movie-wise, I would need to like work on narrowing it down, because I have a bunch of movie ideas.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, movie idea. I think if I were greenlit a movie, I had an idea for a movie about two. I had 2 front runners for a movie. One about a very like Goodfellas style movie, kind of a biopic about this guy and his brothers who basically start doing organized crime, but in like white suburbia. So they start like their beginning days of organized crime involved selling sodas at high school, because schools in California, for those of you who don't know, public schools in California cannot sell candy or soda anymore. It's illegal to cut back on obesity or whatever.
Really?
So it starts. Yeah.
Oh.
That was a Schwarzenegger law.
That would be something he would do too, because he's all jacked and shit.
Yeah. And anyway, so it starts with them in high school and goes up to when they're adults, but it's basically just because it was one of those things. I was sitting in one day like examining my life, and I'm like, if I were in organized crime, what would I do? Because I wouldn't be selling drugs on the corner. I don't know anyone who has any drugs or does drugs. So what would I do? And it's like kind of, okay, well, how would I bend the law and start doing organized crime? So it was kind of inspired by that. And some family friends that had these three kids, these 3 boys that were brothers, and they were just, it was fascinating watching them kind of like work together, but also against each other and kind of against their parents and do all this like mischievous shite. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. But anyway, so there was that.
There was one movie idea that I thought of, and this, even if someone came to me with the money, I don't think I would be able to make it. It was going to be called Pseudo Saints. And pretty much it was going to be like, it was the
Japanese version of the Boondock Saints.
Well, so Pseudo Saints, pretty much 2 or 3 guys, or like, let's say they're losers in college, watch the Boondock Saints. And then collectively they believe that God made them watch that movie so that they do what the saints do.
No. I love it.
And then it's kind of inspired by this other indie film, which is a whole nother story. So then they're like, this is what God, that's why we watched the movie together. We're supposed to do this. And so then, and they're awful. They're really bad. And then they actually, I think they go and like try to find Norman Reedus and Sean Patrick Flannery?
Yeah.
They like try to go find them to like help them. And they're like, bro, no, like this is not okay what you're doing. And so it was gonna be like this whole thing, like they get caught up in like almost like a stupid, like it's not like the mob, but like a local white person gang in the suburbia or whatever. And like it's just really dumb. They take it super seriously.
That sounds awesome. We should write that.
Yeah, I don't have an ending plan. I just thought it'd be funny if like you just had a few losers in their 20s watch that movie and go, oh, that's us. Like this is what we're meant to do. And they're just god awful.
I do need to get back into writing. I haven't written in a while. Just,
It's tough nowadays just with work schedules. I just finished a book actually.
You wrote a book?
Yeah, and it's I got notes back from a developmental editor, and so I have to make some rewrites and then go forward with the copy editor, and then I think that's going to be released in June.
Oh wow!
I think.
Holy shit! I didn't know that. Is this the public announcement? Holy shit!
I guess. I mean, so it's that same universe I was talking about with Mike Ortiz. He's already written a novella.
I remember when you tell me a little bit about this. I didn't know you were going into a book about it. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and so Ortiz already wrote one novella called Storm Crows, out now on Amazon.
Link. Look for the link.
I'll put a link in there. Hell yeah.
In the link in the link
somewhere on the screen. And then he wrote another one. He's much more efficient. He's been fucking cranking them out, and I'm like, like barely keeping up. So then his other one's gonna be released, I think, in April or May. It's Q2, and then mine is gonna be released Q3.
Awesome, cool. You'll be that one writer that everyone likes the best, but takes fucking forever to finish their books, and
that's the hope. And then I can throw that in his face because he's like, "Dude, I'm on number 5," and I'm like, "Fuck you, at least."
Quality over quantity, bitch.
Yep, and then I'm gonna have to buy my own hard copy because if you're watching, this shelf right here, aside from the Game of Thrones, is all books made up of people I know that have written.
Oh wow! Okay.
I've read maybe one, but I bought it because I support. I support my folks. Yeah. You got an OnlyFans? I got you. I support my people.
Leave your link in the comments.
Leave the link in the comments. I got you. Unless you have shit content, then I'm unsubscribing.
So are you Michael Glenny in the book? Are you going as Michael Glenny? Do you have a book name? Or?
So at first, I had a joke with a friend of mine in college in Las Vegas. Did I mention I went to school in Las Vegas?
Wow, no.
Yeah. We had a joke that my pen name or my acting name would be Glenn Michaels. And that just kind of it was a joke and we laughed at it. So when it came time to put the author name down, I was like, I don't want to do that. So on the it's just my name.
And Michael crazy. Glenny or Mike Glenny?
I think on the cover it just says M Glenny.
M Glenny sounds pretty cool. But
yeah, once I write the about the author, I'll probably put Mike.
Oh my, okay. Michael Glenny sounds better, I think, than Mike Glenny. Mike's Glenny sounds harsh.
You might actually be right.
Michael Glenny rolls off the tongue. Like
Mike Glenny is like the actor name. Michael Glenny is the writer name.
Yeah, like Mike Myers was the one we liked, and Michael Myers is not the one we liked.
Yes,
Michael Myers is the one we take seriously. So
Michael Myers is the one that I will not speak to.
Right. So Michael Glenny is the one we take seriously. We'll read his shit. And
Mike,
awesome. Wow, I didn't know.
Mike Glenny is the one that appears in really shitty short films and indie films.
Running through the desert naked and shit.
Yeah, well, then more. I'm going to censor myself in case certain people are watching this, but I've been in some pretty shit stuff recently.
Oh no.
I'm not going to talk about it because I'm not trying to trash my boys. But
no, acting credits or
yeah.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Like, because I'm one to talk. Everything I've done. Solid. Tell you what, every screen I've been on has been solid.
You were good as Bowman in the thing that we shot. You were good.
Okay, that's one.
I still have the.
I went back and watched a an indie film I was in because I was ADing in it, and they needed a guy to run on screen with a gun, and I was like, I'll do that. And then they told me to take my gun home and that they had a prop gun, but whatever.
Was this a feature or just like a short?
It was one of those, like, it was a friend of mine. It was my neighbor who was doing one of those film challenges, a 48-hour challenge or 72-hour challenge or something like that. You know, you're given a genre and a couple lines and you have to make it happen. And then 48 hours later, you have to turn in a finished product. And so it was a lot of fun, and I actually had an amazing time. Come to find out, my friend who did it had a lot of just bad memories about it. You know those projects. You ever do a project where you're like, I have nothing but resentment for that project. And then come to find out some people actually had a great time and really enjoyed it. And
yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Well, I was going to say so the project you acted for us on was kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
Because I think I may have told you, but for our listeners, what ended up happening was the original script was going to be like a 3-day shoot. And yeah. So I'm not going to try to trash them because they're some of them are still my friends and stuff. But there's 3 producers on it. I was in charge, for the most part, of finding background talent and actors. Ortiz was in charge. He was directing it, and he was in charge of finding most of our tech side. And then another guy, because I'm about to roast his ass, and I'm not going to say his name because he's actually a still friend of mine to this day.
Does he know you have beef?
No, it's not beef. It's just like he fucked up, and he knows it.
Oh, okay.
So his one job on that first overnighter was audio. That's all he had to do, was to get somebody for audio. What ended up happening was he hit up his audio guy and was like, "Hey, can you come can you work on this?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." He didn't tell the audio guy that he was going to be the audio guy. So the audio guy just came with nothing. So once he found out he was supposed to do that, this is a 45 to an hour minute, Jesus Christ, 45 minute to an hour drive from LA to the suburbs.
Yeah.
And so he went to a 24-hour Walmart to try to piece together some shit mic. And so we finished the day. And then you were on the first day shoot that we went to the desert. We went to the desert again. I think it was a different audio guy, but either way. So both those shoots, the audio was utter trash. The second day wasn't the guy's fault. It was just because of the other person we had. And so Ortiz and I were kind of like, how do we do this? Like, we just did 2 full days of shooting, and we can't use fucking anything. And so he actually rewrote the script to be much simpler, and that's the day that you came up with us in the desert, and we shot that in one go. But even that day, I think the audio was not good. And it was...
Well, you went from filming interior because it was at a bar. You went from filming interior. When you start filming exterior on location, there's a lot of factors you gotta.
Well, of course, but I think it was just that the equipment didn't work that well. I think the day that we were up there, that it was salvageable. Just by that point, neither one of us had the spirit anymore. We were just kind of we're done. And so we've used some of that footage for it's called the Dawnward universe. We've used some of that footage for B-roll, but that's where when we think about it, we're kind of like you just said you had a great time, and I think most of the people on set that day had a good time, myself included. But looking back at it, I'm just kind of like, fucking project.
Did you get sunburned that day?
I think I did.
Yeah, you were running around the desert in your britches
in the boxes
for about the second half of the day, and we were worried about you a little bit, but that was fine.
Mm-hmm. I was worried about myself. No, I think I got a little sunburn, but not crazy. Nothing horrible.
There was a rifle with a blank in it. I got to shoot it. That was fun. Remember that? Yeah, good times. This is great. For those of you listening that weren't there, I know you're on the edge of your seat wondering what happened next. But that was it.
So here's a topic that came up today, actually, because I was talking to Ortiz about this. So, I'm going to be a hypocrite, kind of. What's your opinion? I think we've had this discussion. I'm not sure if we have had it on air or off air. I think we did on air. You're directing a play. Are you getting your friends, or are you getting people who you know can act? And that could be the same.
This is hypothetical. I'm not directing a play, but no. If I were directing a show, would I get friends or people I know that had chops?
And they obviously there could be an overlap there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean probably overlap because I have directed shows, and I've done it both ways. Where I casted the first show, I casted friends and people I knew and found places for them, kind of thing. Second show, I casted people that I knew were good, and I went to people that I knew were good and gave them the parts, or at least the majority of the cast anyway. And the second show was a lot better. It was it was a lot better.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Because
the first one, it was the first one I call a learning experience.
Sure. And that's so in the past. I mean, I kind of been on both sides of it, where I got cast in one or two things just because the person knew me, but they knew I could act. It wasn't like they just cast me because they knew me. But I've seen recently, not really in theater as much. Like, I was doing a play, I would cast people I know, but people I know who could act. I wouldn't just grab friends.
Well,
but
unfortunately for you and me, is that most of the people we know are in theater.
Yeah. So we're in a good spot.
Most of them are pretty good. But.
Yeah. I've recently come in these situations, though, not theater, but in film, where, like, if you're producing a feature film, so you have stakes in it, like, you have money down on it. And I'm not just talking about big old Hollywood and shit. I'm just talking about, like, little indie features and shit, but you're putting money into it. Wouldn't you want people who could act instead of just casting people you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to be as vague as possible. Just because, like, I've experienced this, not just recently, but in the past, too, where, like, I remember, this will actually go way back. This guy kind of hired me because, like, I wasn't getting paid. It was a friend of a friend to write his script. And this guy knew I was an actor, too. So I wrote it. He gave me an outline, said, here's the outline. I'm like, cool. If there's some information in there that I can't find, what do you want me to do? And he's like, just make it up. If there's something there that you need, just make it up. I was like, cool. So I thought I wrote a pretty good script. He started trashing it anyway because, like, there's certain things that... I think one thing that was like a murder mystery thing, and I ended up making the murderer, like, one of the cops. Like, a friend of a cop or something. I forgot exactly. And he's like, no, the murderer was supposed to be the janitor at the school. And I was like, that's not in your shit. You can't criticize me if you don't include who the murderer is supposed to be. I improvised. Yeah. Anyway. Secondly, I wrote in a character there for me. Like, of course, if I'm writing it, I'm going to write in a character for me. I'm a fucking actor. And so you know what I'm saying? Though? Like, if you're writing something and you know it's like your people you know, you're writing in a character for yourself, of course. And it was clear it was me. I think I put it in the description. He was a detective, like, stubble, dark hair. Like, it was clear it was me. Yeah. Even the shit he said was, like, my personality. So we go to the first read through, and he has his buddy, and so his buddy is Asian. So he's like, oh, Mike, by the way, you need to change the name of this character to, like, Lee or something, some Asian name. And I was like, the fuck? And so then we did the read through, and this guy is trash. And I'm not trying to, like, make fun of him, but he's not an actor. He's just his friend. And this is, like, a substantial supporting role, and he's trash. Granted, this thing never got made because reasons. And so... and I remember I even said to him, I was like, dude, you have community colleges, 10-mile radius, multiple community colleges with theater departments and film departments with kids who could probably act and will do it for free.
Yeah.
Why are you just getting your friend who can't act? I remember I was actually working on a new film. I was technically the AD, but I didn't really do shit. I was just walking around being a PA. And this guy, and bless his heart, he was a cop who was trying to make an indie film based on his experiences. He was getting just people he knew. And I remember there's this scene. It was supposed to be like a cop who kind of is mentoring a guy he arrested and is in jail. Kind of teaching him almost the code of the samurai in a way. And both actors were just bad. And it was like a really heavy scene. Like the lead guy they had was actually pretty good. But like it was a really heavy scene. And it was just bad. And I remember, like, I took him aside. I was 19, and I was like, yo, we need to have... I remember I told him, I was like, dude, we need to have, like, an acting workshop with these guys and redo this if we're going to stick with these guys. And they're like, yeah, we should. And then it never happened. The movie never was made. We maybe shot a total, like, 20 minutes. But, yeah, it's just something in recent days where I'm like, if I were to... So, like... You, Eddie, and Danny, I know y'all can act. So if I was doing something, I know I could go to you guys and be like, hey, come do this. But I'm not going to, like, what's an example? Fucking Corey.
Our friend Corey.
I'm just trying to think of people. Like, no. You have a couple buddies. What's his name who was in Drake Bash who played the cop? I love him to death. Yeah. He's great. He's an amazing guy. Dude can't act. I mean, it was Drake Bash. I get it. But like, I'm not... If I'm putting money down to make something, I'm not getting him. I have plenty of friends who are like, I'm not gonna get you,
Right?
And I'll tell you, like, you're not a good actor.
Well, that's why, like, you see all the professionals, like the real. I know the first example that came to mind was Simon Pegg when he did the commentary for Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead or World's End. He pointed out his mom was in all three of those movies, as was Edgar Wright's mom. Little cameos, but their cameos were background. Like they were in the back, like walking. And I think in Hot Fuzz they had like one where they were like featured, extra status.
Yeah.
But and then it was just like a shot and then moved on.
Yeah, well, even I
like,
think Billy Crystal's mom. I think it was Billy Crystal's mom or his aunt or someone's mom. In When Harry Met Sally, I'll have what she's having.
Really?
I think that was like his mom, or it was someone's mom. But like that was a quick scene, one line, boom, out.
Yeah. No, yeah. So if you're gonna put people you give them a little background scene. They get to say, "I was in my son's movie."
Yeah,
and
you cast your friends as the extras at the bar.
Exactly.
That's who you cast your friends as, not the lead.
What's his name? Duffy of Boondock Saints, the creator, writer, creator of Boondock Saints.
Troy Duffy?
He's in it. Troy Duffy. Yeah, he and his brother are in it. In the opening bar scene, in the St. Patty's Day bar scene, they're two of the guys sitting at the bar and it's like that's how you do it. That's how you do it. You want to put your friends in it. That's how you do it.
You don't.
But
you
then
don't cast
another perfect example. Troy Duffy, one of his good friends growing up that was an actor, was the guy who played Rocco.
Yeah.
And got to play basically himself in this movie, and it turned out great. So
and that was I think the same as Jay and Silent Bob, the guy who plays Jay. The story goes when Kevin Smith was first doing Clerks, and I forgot his name. Let's just say Jay. When he approached Jay and was like, "I want you to play a part in this movie. Here's the part," and the role was like 100% based on him.
Okay.
And I guess the guy read it and was like, "Look, man, I'm not really an actor. I don't know if I could do this part." And Kevin was like, "It's you. Like, it's you. Just be you and say the lines." And it worked.
That bums me out so hard because I love Jay and Silent Bob. I hate Kevin Smith, but I love Jay and Silent Bob. But Jay's character I always thought was hilarious. But every time I watch him, like, that dude's just a bad actor. He's a bad actor. Like,
no, that's him.
Scenes, it's like, and it's such a bad actor. But his character's hilarious, and he just kind of, when he's in the moment, and he's obviously like riffing, and he's just doing himself, and he's like, whatever, fuck, and it's like it's the best. But when he's trying to do lines and scenes, it's like, I don't know.
You could tell when he's just riffing or when he's trying to say a line. You can tell.
Yeah.
But anyway, like that's an exception to the rule because he's playing himself. I get it. Even a script I wrote, I remember I based it off of somebody regular at the bar. And I remember I told him at one point, I was like, I based this character off of you, and if I could trust you to act, I'd want you to do it because it's based off of you and it's like you. But I think you would suck at doing it. And he was like, that's fair. But anyway, it was just something that it came up recently because of certain projects I've worked on recently to where, and I'm going to sound like a fucking pretentious asshole right now. I don't care. To where, like,
not right now.
Never. Like, I would say even you, like, we're technically trained actors. Like, we've done the work. We have our ways of doing it.
I've been paid to act once in a while. So
same.
I'm a professional, man. I'm a professional.
Technically, yeah. And so there's a project I worked on somewhat recently where, and I'm not mad at it. I like doing it either way, but I was in the movie for maybe about 30 to 45 seconds, maybe a minute or two. No big deal. It's fine with me. And then I watched the movie. And I'm not saying I'm the best, but like my work was good. It was decent. For the movie standards, I was one of the better ones. And then you see like some of the more, 'cause I'm only in one scene, the more substantive like supporting actors. Because the lead girl was good. The lead guy was okay. But then the main supporting characters were just trash. Like, I hate to say that word, but like they just weren't that great. And maybe if they were used a little more selectively, like in character roles, it would have worked a little better. Because I'll be honest, like I'm a character actor. I play certain things really good,
right?
But if you want me to be the romantic role, ain't happening. Like that's not my strength. And so I was just watching it, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man! And it's because the person I know uses the same group of people every time. And I'm just kind of like, you have actors at your disposal that can do this. Because he does know some pretty good actors, but like a lot of them are just kind of like I feel like they took like a couple acting classes in Hollywood and they're like, I got it.
Yeah. Was I talking to you about how you can't? It might have been my wife. I can't remember. It's you and my wife. I get mixed up all the time.
We look alike, yeah.
The very stern belief I have that you cannot teach talent. You can teach how to refine talent, but you can't teach talent, and it sucks with acting because so many people want to act, and it's a beautiful thing to want to act, and you should be able to. But if you don't have that we call it the X factor, that kind of just presence.
I'd agree with you on that.
It's the same kind of thing with teaching a tone deaf person how to sing. It's like if they if they can't hear the tone, they're just not going to get it. And I was in theater school for a whopping 1 semester, so I'm no expert at all as far as the academic field of theater. But for that few classes that I was in, unfortunately, most of the class were people that wanted so badly to act, and it broke my heart because I'm like, oh man, they have more drive than I do.
Yeah. And you're right. And he doesn't watch us, I'll say it. So a guy I know I went to college with.
Not yet. He might one day.
Maybe one day. But he was in my classes and he graduated, and he's a great guy. So I almost feel bad talking in a negative sense about him, but he's one of the best guys I know. And he moved to LA and was pursuing the acting thing, and I was like, good for him. I didn't think he was that great of an actor in college, but like, good for him for trying. And so he was in a play, and I went and saw it. And granted, he was better than he was in college, but you know what I'm saying? I was still like, oh, I'm glad you got cast in something.
Yeah.
And good, and like I said, I respect it. He's trying to live his dream. Good for him.
I mean, I live an hour away from LA, and I won't even move to LA to pursue that because I don't even have that dream.
Well, the thing is, like, I still have friends who are like out there grinding it out. I grinded it out for maybe 2 to 3 years, and it's not that I don't like it anymore. It was just like I had to take so much time off of work. I think there was a moment where like I was behind on my car payment and like bills, and I was like, fuck, like I can't take work off. And some of these people, that's their sacrifice. And I know we're both Bill Burr fans. I listened to an old podcast of his recently, and he talked about that. Like, he go do your dreams, go pursue it. Like, you won't regret it. And I don't regret spending 2 to 3 years doing it for like me, but I could not do that for 5 to 10 years. All
the ones that really made it, particularly in the field that I would have pursued, which is some performance, mostly writing, mostly conceptual. It was all of them. Trey Parker, Dan Harmon, Bill Burr, any actor you can think of, always went through the 5 to 10 year phase of sleeping on laundry because they couldn't afford a bed, and barely wondering if they're going to be able to eat that day, that kind of thing. Yeah. And God bless them. That's what it takes. There's so much competition and there's so little jobs in the entertainment industry. That's what it takes. And I kind of weighed it against my life, and I was like, yeah, I don't want it that bad. I mean, I have all the respect for people who do, but me personally, I don't know if I want it that bad.
No, I wanted it, but like I even my family right now at the bar, I've told them if hypothetically Tarantino walked up to me right now and was like, I want you to star in my next movie, I'd be like, bye, bar. Gone. But that grinding out, no. I like I said, I spent about 2 to 3 years doing it, and there was just a moment where, as an example, a guy I know in the bar industry, he was working as a sales rep for a brewery. Won't mention what the brewery's name is. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I'm about to put my 2 weeks in. I was like, oh shit, I thought you enjoyed this. And he was like, dude, you know how much I get paid? And I was like, how much? And I don't want. I'll say it. He said he got paid $30K a year. And this dude was fucking out here grinding, like getting accounts all over the place. And I was like, you're only making fucking $30K? And he's like, yeah. So he told me the moment that he realized he was making shit money, because he was just out working, you get your paycheck, work, was that he had to like start pulling from his savings. And he's like, wait, why am I broke? Like, I'm working more than 40 hours a week. Why am I broke? And to come back to it, that was a moment I had where I was like, I'm putting my heart and soul into it, like 2 to 3 years. And then there was a moment where I was like, I'm behind on bills. Like what the fuck? And like, cause I was taking, this is when I was bartending, but I was taking a lot of shifts off to go audition and do this shit. And I was just like, this is not, I can't do it anymore.
Performing, definitely. Writing to some degree, directing maybe, but it's unfortunately one of those career paths that it doesn't matter how hard you work, because you can work yourself to the bone and it could be fruitless. Yeah. Most every other career, you work your ass off, you're going to get rewarded for it. I mean, not to the extent you want. I mean, no one ever will. Yeah. But most careers, the harder you work, the more likely you'll be succeed.
You move
Not
up,
so with the entertainment industry at all.
And it's a bitch too, to kind of counter your point. You're right that a lot of these people like busted their asses for 5 to 10 years and finally got their break. And then you get these fucking, and I'm gonna say pieces of shit, but they're not all fucking pieces of shit. Who, I think it was Seth Rogen in an interview said, I am the worst example of an actor in Hollywood. Because he moved out here, don't quote me, but if I recall, because he was telling his story, he's like, I moved out here and got my break right away.
Wow.
So he says, he's like, I'm the worst example. Don't look at me. Because you do have these people, like, I think was it Pamela Anderson? Some model, I think it was Pamela Anderson, got spotted, like, on a Jumbotron at a baseball game. And an agent happened to be there and was like, wow, that bitch is hot. And went and found her and said, like, did you hear the Jason Statham story?
Yeah.
With Guy Ritchie?
I think I told you the story.
Yeah, I mean, I've known it for a while, but yeah. Like, so that's the same thing, too. Like, so you're someone who's sitting here grinding it out for 5 years. And then, don't get me wrong, Jason Statham's one of my favorites, and he's a better actor now, but in his early days, shit actor. But he happened to just meet the right person and got right in. Danny Trejo, another example. Do you know his story?
Yeah, perfect example. He was working like catering or something.
He was in prison.
No. I mean, how he got into acting was
he was in prison. To my knowledge, and don't quote me, I could be wrong. This might be one of those stories that are fake. The story I read was he was in prison for some shit, and he boxed in prison. And so another guy was in prison and knew him. When they got out, this guy was working in Hollywood, and they needed a consultant on Raging Bull.
Okay, so what I heard, to pause,
Sure.
What I heard was that this guy he knew from prison was working as a grip on a movie and offered him a job part-time to work on set as like catering or as a grip or something, and that's how he got in the world.
It might have been, these stories get all tossed around. The story I heard was that he boxed in prison, and then the guy he knew, if it was a grip or whoever, was like, I know a guy who knows boxing. So they brought him on as a boxing consultant. They thought he was cool, because I heard Danny Trejo was like really cool. They thought he was nice. They thought he was cool. So they put him in the movie as like one of the boxers he fights. And then that's Danny Trejo's, now he has a career.
Amazing.
Either way.
He never, he went through, the smartest actors do it, the never say no phase. They just say yes to every gig they get. Danny Trejo's one, with Terry Crews is another one. There's a few of them. I mean, that just, Nicolas Cage just knocks him out of the park every time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we're running long, man. We're after an hour now, so.
Yeah, we are. But yeah, no, I just that whole thing about casting, we're off topic. The casting the friends thing came up recently, and just acting in general. Like, like I said, if something happened tomorrow to where I had I got a break, 100%, I'm there. I want the shortcut. I don't want the long grind.
Or if someone, if
that goes without saying, of course, but
if someone offered you funding for a script, it's like I need a treatment tomorrow, and
it'd be done in 2 hours.
Yeah,
it'd be done.
It won't be good, but
it'd be all right. I'll tell them it's a work in progress. But no, yeah, I would 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. Okay.
Yep.
Cool, man.
Good talk. Kind of ran the.
It's a trial run. You know what? We'll see. Hey, you audience, we might post this. We might not. We're like, if the audio checks out and it's all good, then we'll post it. If not, we'll be doing like an emergency record something. But yeah.
Or a repeat.
Or a repeat. Yeah.
Back in rotation. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today in our ramblings.
Yay.
And then we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Absolutely.